Get that stuff out of here. Me and the boys are watching some real fantasy. This year it feels like we've seen a full-on resurgence of fantasy anime. Not soy boys getting transported to another world. No more I got reincarnated as toilet paper. Now I wander the world, letting elf girls wipe me. Oh, it's depressing. I could actually see that being a thing. Just pure
Gigguk,
hard fantasy, taking the genre back to its roots with two shows
Eine
leading
neue
that
Ära
charge.
von
Free
Fantasy.
Run and Dungeon Meshi, two fantastic fantasy series that shine in completely different ways and have left their mark on the anime community this year. But if you're a fully functioning adult and learned how to count properly in kindergarten, you may notice that this is only two shows taking the spotlight. And as we all know, that is
Ich schwöre sogar, ich wollte gerade sagen, hä, es gibt doch nur Frieren. Er macht das Video safe wegen Frieren und dann spricht er es sogar an.
Because as we all know, everything in the world has to come in threes. Shonen manga, film trilogies, degenerates. But what if I told you there is a fantasy manga that can stand up to these two shows? A fantasy that excels in something totally different from the hard-hitting story of Free Ren or the insane world-building of Dungeon Meshi. A series that already has an anime confirmed
Ist Delicious in Dungeon wirklich so gut?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are on the cusp
Irgendwie hat
of
mich
a
das
fantasy
nicht
big
gereizt.
three. That's right, gamers. I'm here to talk about the next
Weil ich gehört habe,
big
ja, die gehen einfach in
fantasy
Dungeons und futtern da so. Best Fantasy Demon Slayer und ich sag dir ehrlich, ich lieb's. Ich lieb's, ich gönn's Demon Slayer.
But before we get into pure fantasy, first, I want to talk about Isekai again because this video is sponsored by Isekai Slow Life. When you were a kid, I'm sure you thought to yourself, I can be whatever I want to be, do anything I want to do when I'm a grown-up. Unfortunately, if you want to do magic, in the world of Witch Hat Atelier, that's a privilege only given to witches, and only a few people in the world can ever become witches.
Echt? Ist der gut?
Coco wants to be a witch, because as we all know, witches get bitches. I don't think that's Coco's primary motivation. The closest she's ever gotten to magic is a book she bought from this mysterious witch on the street corner when she was a kid. And just look, remember kids, don't be like Coco. Don't talk to strangers, say no to drugs, and for God's sakes, don't go accepting magic book from shady looking people in the back alley, okay? Especially if that book smells like pee-pee. One day though, her village gets a visit from a real witch, Kifrey, who finds himself in a circumstance of having to cast a spell to help out. But before he does, he goes to Coco and tells her, okay Coco, I have a very important task for you. Whatever you do, make sure nobody, I repeat, nobody sees me cast this magic. This is very important. Do you understand? Coco immediately watches Kifrey casting his magic, and what she sees is him drawing some shapes that look really similar
Alter, ich
to
muss
some
den
of the patterns in the
abchecken.
magic book she has.
Auf Witch Hat. Aber gibt's davon ein
I
Anime?
wonder what would happen if I tried drawing some of these patterns myself.
Ich würde dann den Anime gucken.
She destroys her house, commits a Class A felony, and turns her mother into stone.
Oh shit.
In the industry, we call this an oopsie daisy. With her parent acquiring the new status of Mum the Rock Johnson, Kifrey decides to take Coco under his wing. Hopefully he can find out more about this mysterious witch that sold Coco that book as she begins her journey into the world
the Rock
of
Johnson,
witchcraft.
das war's.
And wizardry. Witch Hat Atelier presents itself initially as your typical coming-of-age story in a fantasy world of magic. So you may be wondering, what does this series do to allow it to stand up to the fantasy juggernauts of Free Ren and Dungeon Meshi? Free Ren gave us a beautiful, introspective tale about the passage of time and appreciating the important things in life while you can that hits harder than most anime ever could. While Dungeon Meshi's world building is some of the most intricate and well thought out I've ever seen, crafting a living, breathing ecosystem that doesn't just feel alive, but you get a sense that it's also fully functional, like you're stepping into a life-size fantasy terrarium. So what does Witch Hat bring to the table? Great art, got that. Interesting characters, got that. But the real thing that sets it apart is that, in short, it has one of the most interesting magic systems I've ever seen in anime or manga. A hard magic system that not only lays the groundwork for creativity and imagination, but is also ingrained
im Grunde Atelier auf Witch Hat? Es geht gar nicht Frieren oder Delicious in Dungeon. Wollte quasi einen dritten hervorheben. Ach Digga, ich check erst jetzt. Es geht Atelier auf Witch Hat in dem Video. Ich dachte, er will jetzt mehrere aufzählen, aber ich glaube, er will nur auf Atelier auf Witch Hat hinaus.
Where I'll be teaching you the basics of how magic works in Witch Hat Atelier. Any questions? No, Timmy, you may not go to the bathroom. I don't care if you're desperate, just shit yourself like every other self-respecting kid. In the world of Atelier, magic is cast by drawing seals, which look like this. And these have to be drawn with special conjuring ink. And that's it. No special enchanting, no custom-made Gamer 3000 RGB magic wand. All you need is some special ink and the basic ability to draw.
Drawing for
which means
dummies.
essentially anyone can do magic. Except for me, if you've seen my ability to draw. Yes, even you can do magic, Timmy, if you stop sniffing the conjuring ink. Kids, do not sniff the conjuring ink, please. A basic seal is made of 3 simple parts. The sigil, which typically goes in the center and denotes what kind of magic you're going to be manipulating.
Aber soll mich mal nicht zu viel spoilern. Ich will den auf jeden Fall abchecken, der hat mich schon ordentlich gespoilert, Alter.
Wind, shadow,
aber sieht echt interessant aus. Der hat mich jetzt schon gehuckt. Jetzt muss ich den abchecken, aber ich hoffe, es gibt einen Anime.
Next up, we have keystones that go around the sigil. These are different signs that denote exactly how the element in your sigil will act. And we've got a boatload of different signs that will determine exactly what form your spell is going to take and exactly how it's going to be controlled. Which is why it's very important that you draw exactly how you want your spell to act. One sign a bit longer than the other? Congratulations, you just bukaked your neighbor next door with some water magic. Need a big gust of wind to send you flying? How about you try drawing a wind sigil with a massive arrow pointing up and you'll be gliding.
Das ist ja wirklich cool. Ey, Digga, das ist wirklich cool.
By combining your different signs, you should be able to craft a spell to do exactly what you want it to do. Oh, Timmy, you understood all that? You tried drawing your own seal? Oh, let me have a look. Timmy, see me after class. And after all that's left to do to complete the spell is to draw a complete circle around.
Also Magic mit
Because
Zeichnen.
every witch knows if you like a spell, you should have put a
Es gibt mir
ring.
richtige Kankuro-Vibes aus One
I think
Piece.
it was Dumbledore that said that. And that, kids, is everything you need to know to become a witch and start casting your own spells. Do we have any questions? And Timmy's just shit himself. Great. That's the core basics of the magic system in Witch Hat Atelier. I thought it was such a genius system because the core building blocks
aber
are
das ist
simple
wirklich
enough
cool.
that anyone
Man
can
kann dann
understand, but
richtig
by iterating on
die
these basic concepts, you can
Kreativität
get
seinen freien
increasingly
Lauf lassen.
complex that makes you just think about magic
Plus,
in a totally different
man kann
way.
sogar
When you have a grasp of the basics, then you can start doing
richtig
stuff
coole
like
Sachen damit
linking
machen.
spells,
Man kann
more
sogar ein
powerful
richtig geiles
effects,
Power-Scaling
nested
machen.
glyphs where you can enclose
Mit
multiple
Leuten, die
spells
so
into a bigger
unnormal
spell to
krass
get more
detailliert
complex
zeichnen
effects.
können und so.
Spell toggling, where for example you draw 2 halves
Mit der
of a
krassesten
spell on a
Magic.
shoe, then bring them together to complete the ring so you can quickly toggle the spell's effects on and off. Different wands to help witches draw on specific surfaces. From the approaches
das
they
sieht aus
take
wie
to
ein
the
Brett.
tools they
Also ich
use,
mein's komplett
everything has
ernst.
been carefully thought out. Like these tools have been crafted
Ich kenne
to
Atelier auf
logically
Witch
solve
Hat,
a
aber
problem
ich hatte
if
das
this
nie
magic
so,
system were to exist.
nie so
And I
richtig auf
have
dem
no
Schirm.
better way to
Warum
encompass
redet da
all this
niemand
other
drüber?
than saying it's just so fucking cool. This might be a bit of a curveball, but
Weil
in a
das, was
sense, the
mir
magic
erzählt,
system
sieht
here was
extrem
actually
cool
a bit
aus.
reminiscent to me to coding. God, I never thought my coding course in university 13 years ago would finally come in handy. At its most basic, coding is just a set of instructions built on a few core concepts that you input into a system that interprets those instructions to do exactly what the code tells it to do. If the code doesn't act the way you envisioned, well, it's not the computer's fault, it's the human error with the code, and then you have to do some debugging. But instead of just searching up your errors on Stack Overflow, I imagine debugging magic seals would be something like, oh hey Timmy, you want me to have a look at your fire spell? It's not doing what you thought it would? Well, you just burned down the entire fucking village, Timmy. Yeah, thanks for that. It's gone. Your mum's dead. Yeah, how about you debug your life choices, Timmy? Oh, you want to learn about loops? Well, how about you loop yourself to the nearest orphanage, Timmy, because that's where you're going. But because... Wait, I just realized I unintentionally just repeated the plot of this manga with fire instead of rocks. But because the logic of this system is so defined, it enriches so much of the world and characters. Because instead of just telling us that this person is a genius witch or this person has a specialized skill set, we can actually see it ourselves through how they approach solving problems with their own knowledge of the magic system. Find it hard to accurately draw bigger seals? Well, maybe by combining the effects of a bunch of smaller seals and linking them together, you can replicate the effect of a bigger seal. don't have a specific spell you need to identify ingredients in a potion?
Das wird
Well,
richtig
how about
gezeigt.
you repurpose a destruction spell you saw earlier, but reverse the seals to conjure up the opposite effect and remake the core ingredients? Like different coders writing a program, there is no singular way to solve a problem, and by setting the rules of the system clearly, it sets the stage to breed creativity in a way that you can appreciate that goes beyond, this person is a powerful witch because he does magic good. I think the first time I truly appreciated this was when I saw some of the first major battles. See, as a witch, you have several approaches you can take, especially in a battle situation. Now, if you're less experienced, maybe you prepare a notepad with some pre-drawn
Kämpfe sind safe brutal
spells. It might not be
spannend
as specialized for every
in dem
situation
Manga.
you're in, but they're quick and easy to cast by just circling the spells that you need. Maybe you have a specific battle style where you just engrave the actual spells onto your clothing for permanent effects. If you're a little bitch baby. Now, if you want to see where the true experience and skill gap comes in, this guy bloody walks in and is accurately able to cast spells quickly on the fly without any pre-made books, assess the situation, then while blocking attacks, draws a counter spell with his fucking feet, flies towards the enemy, then based on the shape of his opponent's seal and the environment, is able to correctly deduce the exact way the opponent's spells work and initiates a counter spell based on its weaknesses. And it was at this point I've realized I have not been this engrossed with a fictional power system so intricately crafted since I first encountered Nen. And I do not say those words lightly. But beyond just being a really cool way to show what characters are capable
cooles
of,
Kampfsystem, gerade weil das Magic-System unnormal gut ist. Und genau das habe ich mir schon gedacht. Ich glaube, das ist echt ein Brett, Alter. Ich muss da reinschauen.
Given everything I've just laid out, I'm sure even you can conjure up a spell or two, and there was a point in the world's history where that was the case. However, give everyone unrestricted access to a tool that can help but also cause great harm to the people around them, and I'm sure everyone's only going to use it for the betterment of humanity, like real life, right guys? The world was constantly embroiled in war. Spells that did unspeakable things were conceived. Dark rituals, tragic accidents, human experimentation, and other crimes became a normal part of the world. So one day, the leading governing bodies made a pact to change the world forever. Firstly, the entire population would have their knowledge about magic wiped from their memory, with only a few people, aka witches, being given the knowledge of how to cast magic, passing that knowledge down to only a few select individuals. Secondly, certain spells would be outlawed forever as forbidden magic with no exceptions. Spells that greatly alter the environment and spells that are drawn or directly affects the human body, except for memory wipe spells. This is the black and white justice system that governs the world. You have the normal law-abiding witches that uphold the rules of the world, and the shady brimcaps who practice the forbidden magic. Ooh, I don't know why I'm doing this. But as you continue the story, you start to realize, wait, who's got more of a point here? Why are the good witches trying to wipe the memories of innocent kids just trying to help out? Is it fair to keep
Bruder, der hat
doctors
die
from practicing what is
Manga-Panels
technically
richtig
forbidden magic
geil
on
animiert.
humans when all they
Ich
really
mag
want
das
to do
voll.
is to heal people and save more lives? Is it morally okay to keep the knowledge of magic to only a privileged few when it's a tool that can empower the lives of so many people? Because yeah, magic can be dangerous, but hey, maybe the only thing that can stop a bad witch with a wand is a good witch with a wand. Hell yeah, brother! Seeing our characters trying to find their place in this morally grey justice system is one of the big driving forces of what makes the world and characters so interesting. The magic of Witch Hat Atelier is just waiting for its anime adaptation to bring it to a whole new audience. I know I haven't talked much about the characters or overall plot progression or the amazing art and paneling or just how fantastic the world building is, but I think this is what's going to make it stand out so much, even with the influx of so many amazing fantasy anime we have to choose from right now. It's a series that takes something as ethereal as magic and gives it a sense of tangibility, and yet somehow doesn't take away that sense of wonder and awe. In fact, by allowing me to appreciate the mechanics, it makes the magic of the world even more magical. So yeah, if you need another fantasy world to dive into, go check out Witch Hat Atelier. Oh my god.
Atelier.
It's a French word. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed that video. Thank you very much this
Starkes Video. Wirklich starkes Video. Ich kannte Atelier auf Witch halt, aber irgendwie hat noch nie jemand mit mir drüber gesprochen. Ich habe auch noch nie einen TikTok drüber gesehen. Es ist das erste Mal, dass ich überhaupt jemanden drüber reden höre. Und selbst hier überrascht es mich. Ich dachte, der wird über Frieren oder so reden. Aber der redet tatsächlich über Atelier auf Witch halt. Und dieses Magic-System scheint richtig gut ausgeklügelt zu sein in dem Werk. Ich muss es mal unbedingt abchecken. Ich hoffe aber, es gibt ein Anime, weil ich will dann lieber den Anime erstmal eine Chance geben, bevor ich dann maybe in den Manga einsteige. Der hat jetzt echt mein Interesse geweckt, Alter.